Shalom, everybody. This is Sephora, and I just wanted to just share a little bit more. I don't think that I was very thorough in terms of what I wanted to explain as a way to try to help deal with the what I guess is being called the V2K, and what one of the okay, I suggested a few things. One of them that I suggested was meditation, and again, as I was saying, I know that some people um, view that, especially if you're depending on your, what form of Christianity you follow. There's this idea that Christianity is, or that meditation is bad or that it's wicked. But like I said, I think that it has to do with your intention, because in all honesty, it's what you're doing is you're simply learning to block out or to ignore distractions. And I gave an example of someone who's in traffic, a mom who has a car full of kids. She needs to be able to block out, the children, the screaming, the radio to a certain degree so that she can focus on the traffic to get them from point A to point B. An athlete who's in, like I use the example of being on at the free throw line. He needs to be able to block out everything: the cheering, the yelling, the boos, the people, the snide comments. He needs to be able to ignore all of that and even his own thoughts to be able to perform. The same with an actress, the same with, a concert pianist. So that's all I'm talking about is using, um, again, like I said, if you don't want to use the word meditation, then use the word concentration or use the word focus. But all you're really doing is training the mind to shut out distractions. And that's what those fiery darts are. They are distractions. You may see them as radio frequencies or radio waves, if that's the terminology that you want to use. But I'm telling you that when we look at this from a supernatural perspective, because that's really is what this is really about, when you use technology, you're just using a modern term to describe what is part of this temporal world. But what's really happening is that it is spiritual. These are those thoughts are fiery darts that are being targeted at you, okay, by someone, okay, who has sent those spirits into your personal space to torment you, okay. And if you want to say it's the government, or if you want to say it's, a group of people who don't like you or whatever, that's you. I can't, define that part for you. But I'm telling you that what you're dealing with are spirits, okay. Lust is a spirit. Alcoholism is a spirit. Fear is a spirit. Hate is a spirit. And when you those symptoms, those actual physical sensations that you feel, like with hatred, or like with, with fear, or with lust, or thoughts of, like, being shot or being hit by a car, or just all of those negative things. What those are the what we call the manifestation, okay, that spiritual being is present. So what you want to do is you want to block them out. You just want to be able to block them out. And doing meditation, or again, if you want to call it concentrations, exercises, call it what you want, it teaches you to shut them out. That's why I suggest meditation. And it's something that I have used. Again, you don't have to do it in that full on kind of like Eastern philosophy or Eastern religion perspective, where you're sitting cross-legged and you're chanting, or you have bells or something like that. That's religious. Okay, that's a different spiritual path. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about simply learning to focus, learn to train your mind. You and in the training, if you want to use that term, okay. But what you do is you want to just find an object, and it could be your Bible. That's a very simple shape, okay. That is a very simple shape. It's a rectangle. That's all it is. Put that down in front of you, picture it in your mind, close your eyes, and focus on it. And just whenever you start to think about something else, but if one of those, negative thoughts comes up, or a negative image flashes across your mind, you just simply ignore it. And you try to focus and recreate that picture of the Bible in your mind. And when it fades, open your eyes again, look at the Bible again. Make sure you got the color, the size. Does it have, I mean, look at it. Does it have these little ridges on it? Or does it have the actual tabs? Did it come with a bookmark? I mean, look at it, okay? And just, memorize what it looks like, and then close your eyes again, and picture it and try and recreate it. That's all that you're doing. And what's happening is that you're training, view the mind as a muscle. Okay? View the mind as a muscle. And so what's really happening is you're training your mind to focus on one and only one thing. Okay, like I said, it can be an object. If you don't want to use the Bible, if you feel somehow that that is disrespectful, then just get a golf ball, get a ping pong ball, get a your portable mouse for your computer, but a very simple object. Okay, that's or if you want to. I mean, like I said, you can use a candle, you can use a glass of water, you can use, but it just an object. Okay, and when you see these movies and stuff where these people, maybe they're Hindus, maybe they're Buddhists or whatever, and they're sitting cross-legged and they're, chanting Om, Om. What they're doing the same thing, but what they're doing is they're choosing to focus on a sound, okay? Because in all honesty, your mind your mind responds to images, visual, it responds to sounds, auditory, it responds to touch, it responds to taste, it responds, and when I mean responds, it reacts. It starts to think because that's what the one of the things that the mind does. The mind thinks, and whatever you present before it, if you leave it unchecked, it will think about that. And so that's why they bombard you constantly, constantly, constantly. And so you really have to. One of the ways that you can shut that out is to learn to focus your mind. The other thing that you can do is to pray, to build and cultivate a relationship with the Most High Creator. Okay, now again, these ideas that I'm giving, I'm coming from a place of experience. I'm coming from a place of experience with my walk with the Most High, and that's what I'm offering you. Like I said, I've been doing these videos, sharing my experiences, so that you can understand that I'm not just, so that you can understand where I'm coming from. Okay, that I am a targeted individual, that I'm a victim of gang stalking. Okay, if you want to say satanic attacks, then we can say that. But that's the experiences that I have been dealing with for many years, and these are the tactics that I've had to try to overcome. Okay, dealing with that constant bombardment. Okay, some of them are violent thoughts. Some of them are really just like strange and twisted. I've had to deal with this on many levels, and one of the things that has helped me is to find time to simply sit and breathe and to let my mind rest and to shut out everything. Like I said, I don't know if you've looked at any of my other videos, but remember I shared you the video, or I shared in one of the videos, being in one of the places where I lived and hearing this, and then as I would approach, try to hear, figure out where it was coming from the wall. Right as I would get there, it would stop. I mean, imagine how that would be. Okay, and like I said, it's not like I was in a big house. Okay, no, this was a one room. This was an SRO, so it's not a sound that you could escape. So imagine trying to read a book with that going on. It's impossible unless you learn to block it out. Headphones is another way that you can do it. If you really are that opposed to doing meditation, then get some headphones. But regardless of what you choose, prayer, because you are going to need some help. That's one of the things that this has made very clear to me is that I can't do this. I cannot, and the scriptures confirm this. I can't save my own soul. I can't keep my own soul alive. I can't fight these people. I don't have the weapons or the technology. I don't have the the resources. I'm not connected with an organization, because one of the results of this, whether intended or unintended, is isolation. This feeling that that I'm the only person that's going through this. I understand now that that's just one of the consequences of it, and that that's not true, but that's the feeling. And sometimes it's hard to tell who's on whose side. Um, I've had experiences where I was sharing experiences and my concerns with people who turned out to be the enemy. And all I was really doing was throwing gasoline on their fire. So it does get you to a place where you don't want to talk to anybody, where you're not sure who to share it with. But so cultivate a relationship with the Most High, with the Almighty, and ask Him to help you. Ask Him to give you the tools that you would need to stop these fiery darts. Okay? And again, like I said, faith. Because that right there, for you to literally stop, to get down on bended knee and ask, that is an act of faith. And you're asking with the intention that the prayer is going to be answered. And also, for those of you who might say, well, I've prayed before and I don't get my questions answered, or it just takes a long time. And I say to you, one, I say, if you don't succeed, try again. Two, I say to you, there's a possibility that your prayers are being answered, but that if you maybe you don't know how to recognize the hand of the Most High at work in your life. Three, and in conjunction with that, one of the other side effects of being able to sit and meditate is that you will begin to notice differences. You'll notice that the constant bombardment, that it goes away. You'll notice a bit that it lessens, that it subsides. Okay? And you'll also start to notice other things around you because you're only focusing on one thing. And so all of a sudden other things will start to stand out. You won't necessarily like leap over and start thinking about it, but if you're at work and all you're focusing on is your work, then something happening over here, you might it might stand out a bit more. So that also applies on the spiritual side. You'll learn to recognize the hand of the Most High at work in your life. Is there a problem with that? Okay, that is something that though in those experiences when you recognize his hand at work in your life, those are going to be the experiences that are going to help to strengthen your resolve. That's those are the experiences that you can fall back on when other people try to tell you that the Most High isn't real or that he doesn't exist. You'll be able to say, well, that's not true, because I prayed and asked for help and guidance on how to deal with some of these crazy images and such, and I got this impression to do something and I did it and it worked. Okay, but I just wanted to share those two. There's more, but definitely praying and asking for guidance. Meditation definitely helps. And three, the other thing that I said was that I mentioned in the previous video was using the word of the Most High to combat that. And I'm going to do that in the next video because I think that's a really important part, especially if you want to look at this from the perspective of from a spiritual perspective, that what you're really dealing with, even though they're using technology and using technological phrases, okay, and vocabulary, but what you're really looking at, what you're really dealing with is spirit. You're dealing with spiritual attacks, okay? But I'm going to end this right now, but I'm going to do another part to talk about how you can use you can use actual verses. You can actually use the word of the Most High, okay, to combat some of this V2K. Okay, thank you. Shalom.